Coming up on Mornings on the Hill.
We give you an update on what our school is doing to keep students safe from the coronavirus.
And the Not Again SU movement continues.
And what we can expect from our men's basketball team in the ACC tournament.
All that plus your weather coming up on this edition of Mornings on the Hill. Good morning, I'm Alexandra Jenner-John. Thanks for joining us for Mornings on the Hill.
And I'm Bailey Arredondo. Here's a look at some of the stories we'll be talking about in our second half hour.
You've seen it all over the country. The coronavirus has affected people, businesses, and now universities. Reporter Michelle Knezovic attended Vice Chancellor Mike Haney's press conference on Syracuse's steps moving forward regarding this health epidemic.
Syracuse University is taking action and transitioning classes online after this Friday due to the coronavirus. Yesterday, Vice Chancellor Mike Haney spoke out to the school on what the university's steps are moving forward.
This is a very serious situation, and I hope that our students, our staff, and our faculty take it very seriously. And
Syracuse University announced that after spring break, classes will be continuing online until March 30th. Vice Chancellor Mike Haney announced yesterday that once students leave for spring break, the university does not want them coming back until classes resume regularly.
For spring break, returning to the idea of transitioning to online education, inherent in that idea is students will not be returning to our dormitories who leave.
The school also recommends students be more aware when they're packing to go home.
Ask our students that as they leave for spring break, they think differently, potentially about packing and going home for spring break, that they take with them all of the things that they need to continue their academic studies when they leave, textbooks, laptops, devices, and certainly anything else that they want to have with them, given that there's the potential that they may be away from campus for an extended period of time, longer than certainly spring break.
During the break, the university will be working with public health officials on steps moving forward.
We will continue to work over the course of the coming weeks to evaluate the situation related to coronavirus and make subsequent decisions about whether or not we will resume residential instruction or continue in an online learning mode. This was not an easy decision.
Any updates or information regarding the coronavirus in Syracuse University can be found on syracuse.edu/coronavirus. We will be continuing to update this story as it develops. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Michelle Knezovic. Back to you in the studio.
Great coverage there from Michelle on what's going on campus, but with nearly every news organization covering this case, there's a lot more information to process. But to break it down and make it nice and simple, our Jillian Andrews explains some of the myths about the coronavirus.
COVID-19 continues to grow. The Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, and the World Health Organization, WHO, are trying to make sure the public has the correct information. One myth surrounding the virus is that cold weather can kill it. According to the World Health Organization, this is not the case. This is because no matter the temperature outside, the human body remains between 97 and 99 degrees. If you live in a region experiencing temperatures below freezing, you are still at risk of contracting the virus from an infected person. Coronavirus is not transmitted by mosquitoes. The CDC says the coronavirus is a respiratory illness, therefore it is spread by droplets produced by an infected person. Stay away from individuals that are coughing or sneezing. Even if an individual is cleared by a thermal scanner, it does not mean that they are not infected. WHO says that thermal scanners will detect whether someone has a fever, but an individual can be infected without showing symptoms. Even if you are not showing symptoms, you can still spread the virus. It can take anywhere from 2 to 10 days to start exhibiting symptoms. Some people believe that you can become infected with the coronavirus if your package comes from a country reporting cases of the virus. According to WHO, this is something people do not need to be seriously concerned with. It would be highly unlikely that the virus could survive the different conditions during travel. If you are concerned about a surface, use disinfecting spray and wash your hands after contact. Another topic people are getting confused about is the difference between quarantine and isolation. Isolation is for people who have tested positive for the disease and are contagious. Quarantine is for healthy people but who have been exposed to the infection but have not yet tested positive. For up-to-date information, make sure you head to the Centers of Disease and Control website as well as the World Health Organization. This organization also has up-to-date maps as far as where regions are experiencing outbreaks. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jillian. But students have been occupying Crouse-Heinz Hall for now 23 days. Last week, students spent nearly 14 hours negotiating with campus leaders. Mornings on the Hill, Alyssa Lyons went to the Not Again SU's press conference yesterday. Alyssa, good morning. I know there was a ton of information yesterday, a lot to process, but what can you tell us?
Good morning. Yesterday, Not Again SU said that they wanted a public apology issued by the administration here on Syracuse University's campus. They said the emails are not enough in that public apology. They want 3 non-negotiables. One, they want a public apology from DPS that said that they refuse basic necessities for the Syracuse University students and Not Again SU. They want an academic pardon from the suspensions that were issued back in February. Those were officially relieved. They said, though, that those were taken back on March 4th, but it's just not enough. They want that public apology. And thirdly, they want the graduate students to be able to return to their jobs and their positions on campus. They actually brought in their civil rights lawyer who said that the university and the institution, this is a violation of civil rights.
First college where the administration tried to denied food and medicine to nonviolent student protesters.
Not only have their current measures been inadequate, but they have already violated the commitments that they have publicly made. Although the administration claims to have supposedly completed several demands for our bartender's occupation, most of them are evidently incomplete.
The conversation with the independent panel, we were really just trying to drive home all the horrible things that the administration did to us here during our occupation in those first 3 days. And one of the panel members stopped us and said, like, no, you don't have to convince me that that happened because I was there. The independent advisory panel that the university hired was refused entrance into this building to speak to us, and that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to hear from the students inside, and the university denied them access to this building. And furthermore, the university said that if the panel wrote a note to the students inside, they would deliver it. And they told the independent panel that they delivered a note to us inside that we never received. And the independent advisory panel was lied to by the university that we received that note and that we chose not to reach out to them. So that was concerning.
So far, Senior Vice President for Enrollment and Student Experience, Amanda Nicholson, already issued her public apology in addition to the university. And as for the negotiations, the students say they're not really sure what was agreed upon because the advisory panel, there was no communication. So what happened during those 4 days, we are not really sure of. Friends, for Mornings on the Hill, I'm Alyssa Lyons.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tom Vielkind. I usually produce this show, but you guys got me out of the booth for once, so I'm going to give you guys the weather for today. So currently right now, it feels like about 28 degrees. Wind chills, not that bad. Believe it or not, I mean, you guys saw what it was like on Monday. Usually spring gives us a little bit, but spring gives us a little bit of time, but you know, old man winter's still going to want to come in. I'm going to give you a lot more weather, though, later in the show. Current temperature is about 31, like I said, in Syracuse right now. But I'm going to give you a full weather broadcast in a little bit, so stay tuned.
Central New York's MakeAWish Foundation celebrated 35 years over the weekend.
Wish receivers came back to share memories of what this organization has done for their families, especially this one. Take a look.
Organization? No, we are, I was from Poland.
Dash actually passed in 92, so he became like a poster child for you guys for a while.
He don't want to turn 8 years old. I say, what you mean you don't want to be 8? Because I wanted 7.5. Why you wanted 7.5? Because everything happened to me like no child can even imagine and dream. That's Make-A-Wish Foundation thing.
He is an artist. Don't deny it.
So good.
Thank you so much.
It's no price on this, I will say. I cannot make all this thing happen myself. You know what I mean? With no help of Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Wishes really do. They replace fear with confidence. They replace sadness with joy. And most importantly, they replace anxiety with hope. And at the end of the day, hope is very powerful medicine.
The Make-A-Wish Foundation of Central New York serves hundreds of Wish kids every year.
But they'd rather not. President and CEO Diane Cooperman says that they would like to be able to shut down their doors one day because one day they'd hope to have a cure.
Coming up here on Mornings on the Hill, our Syracuse men's basketball team starts their ACC tournament play tonight.
Also coming up, we take you live in Greensboro at the men's ACC basketball tournament. Believe me, you will not want to miss this. So stay right here with us on Mornings on the Hill.
Our Syracuse men's basketball team starts their postseason play tonight in the ACC tournament. The Orange earned a first round bye and will take on the North Carolina Tar Heels. Syracuse fell short to UNC in the regular season, losing 92-79 in the last men's basketball game in the Dome. With a sixth place finish in a weak ACC, a loss tonight would eliminate all the hopes of Syracuse making the NCAA tournament. Players to look out for is Syracuse's Elijah Hughes, who won the ACC regular season scoring title, averaging 18.9 points a game, and UNC's point guard Cole Anthony. Both players were selected first team All-ACC. A big week for Syracuse basketball indeed, so big that our sports reporter Cole Johnson and Ron Bruin hit the road for the Orange. Both are live from Greensboro Coliseum and looks like they have the best seats in the house. Cole, what's the scoop for one of the most anticipated conference tournaments of the year?
Good morning, guys. I hope the weather's pretty warm up there like it is down here. Great atmosphere here in the Coliseum. And you look behind me, Clemson and Miami just took the floor for their warm-ups. They're playing at noon. And the winner of that will take on the #1 seed Florida State tomorrow, who just got off the floor for their practice. But the big game is tonight. Syracuse, North Carolina, going at it at 9 o'clock. And other than yours truly, Rob Bruin and myself, we weren't the only ones who made the trip down to see the Orange.
Let's do it. It all started packing the car and taking off. The 10-hour trip down Interstate 81 to Greensboro, North Carolina. We made a couple stops, took a couple naps, and got through traffic. The day turned into night, and we finally arrived.
Made it, brother. Yes, sir.
But Robert and I weren't the only students from Newhouse.
I'm Nicole Weaving, and I'll be covering the ACC tournament for Citrus TV.
I'm Josh Schaefer, and I'm a beat writer for the Daily Orange covering the Syracuse men's basketball team.
So why do we take the long trips just to cover Syracuse games?
A lot of talking, a lot of different music suggestions, some bad gas station food, and like some good laughs.
I just love being able to travel. Like I've just had the travel bug in me ever since I was a little girl. So the idea of like being able to combine that love with my love of sports, my love of broadcasting is kind of like the perfect combination.
It's the real world experience and the chance to challenge yourself.
It's having that experience, that tangible experience, and being able to talk about it and understand it is important. And I think Newhouse understands that too. That's why Newhouse forces us to get out of here so much and try and go get experience.
You have to be filming, you have to be doing social, you have to be paying attention to the games, you can like accurately talk about things, you have to be like tweeting. It's a lot to balance, but I think that it's kind of like a fun challenge in and of itself.
That's what this is. Go do the story, go understand it, go learn. Because that's a learning experience. Going and trying to do something real and professional you can't get that experience in the classroom.
And this year, the Orange are going to need all the support they can get.
Syracuse just lost to North Carolina by a significant amount of points in the Carrier Dome. So when it's in Greensboro and there's more North Carolina fans than any other team, I don't really know how they fare.
I think the Syracuse team's going to compete, and they're coming in with a chip on their shoulder, knowing that they're probably going to miss the NCAA tournament if they don't make a really strong presence and hopefully win the whole thing.
So with coronavirus being the top story worldwide, has there been any word on the impact on the ACC tournament?
Yeah, Rob Bruin here with me now, and yeah, the coronavirus, we got an email from the ACC yesterday telling us that they're going to go with it as planned. The fans are going to be here, but it's weird because there's a chance that this is going to escalate. The Ivy League already canceled their conference tournament, and if this thing keeps going, the NCAA tournament's going to be in jeopardy of having their fans.
Yeah, Cole, I really think that it's going to be tough. I think that they should really just continue to keep the games going because a lot of players have worked very hard to get to this moment.
Yeah, and for Syracuse, this is a big game tonight. They kind of limped into the postseason, but for North Carolina, they're playing their best basketball.
Exactly, Cole. I think that Elijah Hughes, he's only scored over 30 points this year. So he's going to have to score between 33 to 35 points this year. He's going to have to be very aggressive on the scoring end. And Syracuse really has to lock in defensively, Cole. They're going to have a big problem dealing with Garrison Brooks and Armando Bacot as well. And then the X factor, Quincy Guerrier. He's going to have to score 15 points and 10 rebounds to be effective. And he's going to be a big part of this tonight.
All right, so that's it for us here in Greensboro. Back to you guys in the studio. Game at 9 tonight.
Thank you for the update, Cole and Rob. Tip-off, like you mentioned, is at 9 p.m. tonight. Should be interesting to see their fate. Continuing with sports, one Syracuse University fan never misses a game, and their efforts aren't unnoticed by an athlete who goes the extra mile for them.
Come on, Linz. Go, Linz. She's always there to support me, so I always want to be there to support her. My friendship with Lindsay means a lot. Go, Linz. I go to almost every game. To see her puts a smile on my face. Shoot it, Linz. So my mom works in athletic communications, and that's where I first met Lindsay, because she started interning in my mom's office. So it was kind of a great experience for me just to meet her. I've always loved watching her play, but to finally meet her and then become close with her has just been amazing. And just from there, we kind of started having conversations whenever we'd see each other, and we just kind of got close through that. She's always been there for me. I mean, I lost my dad when I was in 6th grade, and I didn't know Lindsay at that time, but she's learned about that experience that I had, and she's always been there for me. And I think it's important just to show my support for her and wear the number 4 jersey because we both wear the same number, which is really cool. I started wearing number 4 when I played travel basketball. I just love coming to the games and getting to see her after. I just always stay to see her because I just think it's important to support her. And there you go. And so if I'm having a bad day and I see her, a smile just automatically comes across my face.
Lindsay Eastwood, a Newhouse graduate student, will be graduating this year. Tracy says she will miss Lindsay, but is excited for her new journey to begin. And for Tracy, she'll be studying at SU next year. Sticking with women's sports, Bailey, what's going on with Orange tennis?
Well, a lot's going on with Orange tennis, and especially over at Drumlin's. Listen, in sports, we can be captivated by what we see on the field, in the gym, and on the court. But a majority of the magic is made behind the scenes. This Syracuse women's tennis team has competed at a high level in what is arguably the toughest collegiate conference, the ACC. But what has been impressive about this team is the chemistry, especially since one of their coaches arrived in Central New York just a few months ago.
Jennifer Meredith bounced around coaching staffs for the past 5 years between UConn and Mizzou. But this past summer, Meredith's journey took a turn toward Central New York. Syracuse needed an assistant coach, and Meredith needed her coaching to be taken to the next level.
Syracuse has established themselves as a top 20 program, and I wanted to learn how Coach Limum has done it, how he does recruiting, how he does practices, how they always consistently have players ranked. So for me, a big part of it was to learn and figure out how it's done by some of the best.
A former SEC standout of her own at Tennessee, Meredith can relate to both a player's mindset and a coach's.
Her work ethic speaks for itself, her passion for the game more than anything, and the ability to relate to our players. I think she, it hasn't been a long time since she finished competing and playing, so she can easily connect with our players and relate to them, so that was huge. And obviously her knowledge of the game. I think she played at the highest level and coached at the highest level as well.
Although Meredith has only 6 months of Orange tennis under her belt, her excitement to come to work every day comes from the relationships that she is able to build.
For me, I try to be a player's coach. I want to relate to the players. I want them to know that I'm always going to have their back, and I'll be the first one to tell them when they do something wrong, but I'll be the first one to tell them when they do something right. I love that part of it. I love having that relationship with them. I love pushing them. Sometimes they hate me, and I'm completely okay with that, but at the end of the day, they know that I love them pretty hard as well. So I try to establish that bond with them, and so they know I can be hard on them, but I'm going to be there when they need me the most as well.
One of my favorite things about Coach Meredith and really spending time with her, Allie, is just her passion about the players, a true players coach. But you can catch the Orange in action this Friday as number 9 Georgia Tech visits Drumlins with first ball at 3 p.m. But Allie, it's not just tennis season. We know a lot has been brewing up here in Central New York, but actually just down the street over at Lemoyne.
Yes, so we know how big lacrosse is at Syracuse, really how big lacrosse is in Central New York. I decided to take a step out of the dome and ended up in our backyard, Lemoyne, where one young woman is already making a big impact.
It wasn't too long ago, Liz Bevel was on the field in her player's shoes, or rather cleats. A former college lacrosse star herself, and having appeared in 4 national semifinal games during her time at Cortland, Bevel knew she didn't want those thrilling moments to end.
I think really when I got to Cortland and we had a lot of success and I was able to kind of see that as a student athlete, coaching was already in the back of my mind as a potential career. So again, I think when you have a lot of success as an athlete, you never want that to go away.
Bevel pursued that career, spending her first 5 years after graduation, jumping to different assistant coaching positions. But now, at just 27 years old, she's taken over Lemoyne's Division II women's lacrosse program.
I think the best thing about Lemoyne with the transition has been the girls on the team have just been really open to everything, and that's made my job a lot easier.
Senior goalkeeper Hannah George says coaching changes are stressful, but the team has remained positive.
I think senior year coming in, you're used to what you had before the past 3 years, and then you get a change and it's different and it's kind of scary, but our whole senior class, we're really excited for a change.
As for what's next for Bevel and her team, she says their goal is to win the Northeast 10 championship and then eventually a national championship.
You know, our biggest thing that we keep saying is just to win the now. We want to win every day and focus on one goal at a time. I think if we do that, we'll be able to take care of the team's bigger goals, which are to win any 10 championship and then eventually a national championship.
But by the way George describes her new coach, those bigger goals seem like they'll soon be a reality.
A go-getter. She's excited for to see what she can do with the program, and she knows that we can perform, and she wants the best. She wants the best for us, and we want the best for her too, and we want to win that natty.
Reporting from Ted Grant Field, Alexandra Jennerjohn, NCC Sports.
Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back with weather after the break.
Welcome back, guys. I'm still gonna give you guys a quick weather, but so tomorrow, high's gonna be 56, partly sunny. So it's actually gonna be a pretty nice day, pretty similar to what we saw on Monday. Friday, as people are departing for spring break, it's gonna be about 55 and mostly rainy for the rest of the day. And people aren't gonna be here, and it might be warmer where you're going, but if you might not be going because of coronavirus, I don't know, but at least in Syracuse, it's gonna be like that. Also with coronavirus, as we heard, one of the best ways to stay healthy is to wash your hands often, Allie.
Yes, in a meeting yesterday, however, House Democrats came up with an idea of their own.
The attending physician at the closed-door meeting suggested the lawmakers should give the Long and Prosper sign, better known as the Spock sign from the Star Trek franchise. The idea would be to prevent exposure from eliminating person-to-person contact. Several lawmakers in Washington have decided to self-quarantine to limit the spread of the coronavirus on Capitol Hill.
So can you guys do the Spock sign? I know some people can and can't, like, off the top of their head.
Glad you asked, because I can with my right, but I can't with my left.
That's really interesting. Now I got to check. I can do both.
Have you heard of, though, instead of the Spock thing, you can do elbows, knucks?
All right.
I've heard that.
Yeah, I actually have, but yeah, that's all the time we got for today. Thank you for joining us. Morning time.